Hey man, hello and welcome to Relaxed Male. All right, so this week for episode number 21, we're old enough now to finally get to start drinking. Yay! We're going to be talking about some of the benefits that you get from actually joining up with a mastermind. Hello and welcome to Relaxed Male, podcast that helps men change their relationship with themselves. I am your host, Brian, and I am a men's life and mindset coach who is here to help you understand that you don't have to suffer at your own expense. You can live your dream, and I encourage you to set, then pursue your goals. So join me as I change the mindset and attitudes of men so that they can be the leaders of their families and their destinies. Hey man, hello and welcome to Relaxed Male. All right, so if you have read anything that I have ever done on Relaxed Male, there are a lot of times you will hear me bring up this word mastermind. Now, I know. So you probably have joined some of the people who are very turned off by the word mastermind. A lot of times where that comes from is because they join up with what they believe to be a mastermind, and it is just more of a pitch fest, or it is a group coaching situation. And those are good things. You want to be able to sell to potential clients, but to have a quote unquote mastermind where it's nothing but a pitch fest doesn't do anybody any good. It's not a good thing. It also spoils the nature of what a mastermind is. Masterminds are a beautiful, incredible way of being able to help not only yourself, but, having everybody else help you help each other. It's the ultimate form of scratching each other's back. When you do that, you have, there's so many different benefits. And I was looking through and I actually came across a couple of sites that were talking about benefits. And there's some really interesting and good benefits that are being mentioned in that benefits that come about when you're actually in a mastermind. To start off with, if you read Wednesday's blog post, talked about three different types of masterminds, being the coffee cup method, the hot seat method, and also the hot mess method, which is a lot of times, you'll run across a hot mess method being, inserted into one of the others just because it's the nature of people. You get people together, they start talking. And as you get to know everybody, you get to, you start diving into and living life with these people. And so sometimes your meeting gets completely thrown off rails. And so it turns into a hot mess, and that's fine. It's good. But even with the hot mess method, there are so many different types of, benefits or different benefits, not types, but just benefits. Benefits are a type to having a mastermind. And that's what I wanted to kind of cover with you today. One of the biggest is just part of a community. So many times, especially if you are an entrepreneur and you're trying to get a business up off the ground. That's one of your steps that you need to be taken to achieve the dream that you want is financial independence, where you are the one who is dependent upon you bringing in the money. Not that you're not bringing in money working for somebody, but say you're not making enough. You don't feel like you're not making enough money. Well, then a good way to do that is to get your own business going, because then the only person you can complain to about not having enough money in your bank account is you. And that's one of the freedoms that I want to be able to have. I want to be able to say, well, dang it, I don't have enough money here. I need to generate more money. And you can when you're a business owner. But you can, a lot of times being a entrepreneur, especially starting off, all of a sudden you find yourself feeling very much alone. You're trying to express what your frustrations are, maybe to your spouse or to a another person who's not in your field and they just aren't really understanding what's going on. They don't understand the sense of isolation, the sense of that you don't have the connection you really want. Being in a mastermind allows for that. Not just any type of connection. It's a very exclusive connection because not anybody can just come into a mastermind. These masterminds, when set up correctly and are ran, as a means of making sure that this group of people stay very much committed to each other, then everybody is very protective of each other. You're not just going to invite someone off the street and go, hey, dude, hey, I've got a mastermind. Come on in. No, it's a very gated community. And this is a very tight knit community because everybody is making sure that you understand how important you are to the grand scheme of everything and that you are not alone on this journey. You are very much in a group. You have people who you start looking forward to going to talk to every week if you're meeting weekly, or every month if you're doing a monthly style mastermind. But when you get in there, you are able to kind of let a bit of your hair down, so to speak, and just enjoy the interactions with people who are going through the very same problems that you're going through. So it's good to be in a exclusive community. Another reason that masterminds, or another benefit of masterminds, is that you actually have very instant, very valuable support coming from those other members. You have members who have been through the same swamp that you may be stuck in at this very moment. You may be venturing into new territory. So you're trying to figure out how to work your copy, how to do marketing. And there's other people who have jumped right into or in there too. They're not an expert at marketing, but they may be a step or two ahead of you, or maybe a step or two behind you. And so both of those, types of support are great because one, when you have someone who's a step or two ahead of you, they show you that, hey, I made it through this. Here's a little secret to getting that door open, how I'm able to bring people in, and they're thinking behind why they believe that doing that very step, they can tell you what type of mindset shift they had to actually do to be able to make the changes and how to approach, your marketing or whatever the problem is at that time. But you also, because you have this support group, you're able to collaborate a lot more, a lot easier, and a lot more cohesive way. Because if you have a problem, you can turn to, maybe you do have a copywriter in your group. You can turn to the copywriter and go, hey, how much would I be able to pay you? You've got someone you can collaborate with, you can work with, and you can pay together for help that you may need in their area of expertise. So yeah, you may have a writer's mastermind, but you're going to have different types of writers. You're going to have someone who does sci-fi writing, or you may end up having someone who is a self-help writer. You may have another person who is a romance writer, and all of these you can actually help collaborate. You can go, hey, I'm trying to have two robots fall in love here. Romance writer, how do you do that? How do you express that type of love? And they would be able to look at and delve into their area of expertise and be able to help and glean and show you new and interesting ways of being able to progress into whatever area you're not strong in. They help because of the collaboration. Everybody is able to help support, build. And because of you are a sum of all your parts, you're going to be a lot stronger than if you were. One of the biggest, benefits of actually having a mastermind group is that it allows you to, it forces you to think bigger, because as a person, often are plagued by the imposter syndrome, plagued by, well, who am I? And you don't want to think big enough. You actually are more worried about other things that are going on. And so it holds you back. It keeps you from being as large, bold, and audacious as you possibly could. And because of that, the other people in your group are actually able to take you and pull you to a bigger way of thinking, instead of going, well, I would like to be able to make, $50,000 this year. They'll push you to go, well, why $50,000 this year? Let's make it $50,000 a month. And all of a sudden, that's a lot larger and a lot more result than what you even thought was possible. But because a lot of the people who are in your group can actually take that, what they see, because it's so much more difficult to read a label from the inside, because you're inside of a bottle. You can't, you don't always fully see the possibilities that lay before you. And because of that, the people of your mastermind group, they're able to take you and they can push you to go larger. And because of the fact that everybody is talking and working and helping you, or you helping them, it is easy to fall into a synergy and be able to, all of a sudden, possibilities start cropping up, and your mind kicks into another gear, and all of a sudden you get a opportunity and abilities to see stuff that's not normally able to happen because of that synergistic event that happens when you're with a mastermind. Another reason that masterminds, another benefit that masterminds have, is that you may be the phrase, you can't see the forest for the trees, happens more times than you would actually like to admit it. So having a mastermind group and having those other people who are dedicated to making sure that you are being the best that you possibly could be, they're actually going to offer new perspectives. Instead of seeing that you are running it, or you don't have any customers in your area, to go back to, say, you're trying to start up a new business. They can point to the fact, well, yeah, you may live in a town that's only got 500 people in it, but you live in a world with 7 billion people. So there is a lot more opportunities than what you're wanting to actually, wanting to perceive, or that you actually perceive actually going on. So these people can see from a different angle. And because of that, they're able to help you find the reasons as to why. Now, another thing that benefit is one that you kind of have to have a bit of be okay with, because what happens is you can get some really, people are going to call you, are not going to be afraid. If you're in a good mastermind, they're not going to be afraid to call your baby ugly. All right. Now you're going to have, and that's because you're going to get really honest feedback, advice from your mastermind group. And again, that's because they see in a completely different perspective. They're seeing things that you're not able to see. Yeah, you may want to become you want to become married to a particular idea, and they can step back and look at it and go, well, theoretically, that sounds like a really good idea, but you know what? I don't think that's going to help you all that much. They can tell you where your shortfalls are going to happen, and they can point out that, yeah, sounds like a great idea, but it's just not going to be the best that you think you could. And because of the fact that you receive, outside criticism that is meant to make sure that you are propelled to a higher level, you're going to be able to grow. You're going to be able to develop a lot more. But again, a lot of people have a hard time being told that their baby is ugly. all of a sudden you have this great and wonderful idea and they're going, yeah, don't see that working because dude, that means you have to really get out there and shake hands and you are a super introvert. They're going to see things about you that you may be lying to yourself about. You may be telling yourself a story that I am, this way outgoing person, but every chance you get, you're sitting at home. So they can point out what shortcomings, not saying that if you're an introvert, you're not going to be able to make it because dude, you can. It's just, you're going to have to do something that you're not really used to doing. That's getting out of your comfort zone. So you can grow, but you're going to have your team members are going to point out, hey, this is going to be a tough area and this is what you're going to need to do. And you're going to have to be prepared that you're going to, be prepared to actually take those steps to break through that barrier, that obstacle that you're currently facing. Another benefit is you're going to extend your network. Yeah, you're going to have maybe a mastermind group of 6 to 10 people, and each of those are going to have their own networks. But this is where one of the cool things about masterminds really comes into play, because all of a sudden you may have your little network of people, but now you have access to 6 to 10 other networks of people. And those people can introduce you to other people, to people in their network. And so all of a sudden someone, John, the webmaster he knows somebody. He may have built a website for someone who is right in the middle of your niche. And so because of that, you've got an extended network, and that extended network improves your resources. Another reason or another benefit for masterminds is actually the opportunity to grow. You can sharpen your business, your personal skills. People are going to offer you advice that if you take can actually help you become a better person. That's the deal is, though, that's the kind of the rub, so to speak, because you have to take people's advice. So you're going to sharpen your skills because you're actually applying what people are suggesting to you. And because you're actually able to work with all these other people, they actually can show you ways that you can actually boost, show you ways and to develop success. And because you have all this, you're starting to grow in success. You're starting to develop, the confidence to do the hard things that need to be done. You're actually going to be helping your mental health. Another benefit is the fact that when it comes to the different problems that you have, you've got a sounding board of several other people that you can talk through your problems. And that's what a lot of us actually need. It's not that we so much need everybody else's help, but we need to get the thoughts that are bouncing around out of our head or in our head out and actually get them into the sunlight, get them out into the air, and let your brain free up that space of storage. Our minds are wonderful for thinking, horrible at storing. And because of that, if we can talk through our problems, we start to see the tidbits and bits of information and clues to what our problem is and the solutions to those problems. So because we can do that, we can talk to everybody else when we're say you're doing a hot seat method. And it's your time in the hot seat, you can talk it through, and you may actually, as you're in the middle of expressing what your obstacle is, you go, oh yeah, I can do, I've been looking at this wrong. Let's try this. Or how does this work? And you can start asking questions, and as you talk through that problem, all of a sudden you find that solution thanks to the other guys and the synergy and everything else, all the other benefits that happen. You also have the benefit of accountability. You're held accountable. Now, it's not that someone's going to be lording over you going, you said you were going to do this. And, it's not that you've got a group of 10 people who are now hovering over you, and they're going to start, beating you up because you didn't do something. But you start developing a sense of pride in yourself, and you don't want to let these other folks in your group down. You told them you were going to get this one step done. And by the time you get back to the group, you're wondering, you want to be able to tell them and tell them in a very proud way, hey, I nailed that thing down on the third day. I mean, it was so much easier than I was afraid of doing. So you're able to, because of the accountability and because of the fact that you are not wanting to disappoint the rest of the members of the group, and you want to show them that you're busting their advice is being used, and their advice is being heralded as truth. You're going to take the steps to actually complete your goals that you have set for that particular week. And depending on the mastermind, well, it's not even really depending on the mastermind, but because you're in a group of, 5, 6, 10 people, however many people, maybe even a mastermind group of just 2 or 3, you start applying the Jim Rohn's law of you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most intentional time with. And I know it's most time with, but you spend a lot of time with people in your organization, but a lot of times these people aren't quite as influential as the people you intentionally spend time with. And so that's why I add that little extra word on the end. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most intentional time with. And because you're intentionally going into this mastermind group and you're talking to these people and you're listening to what they have to say, and their attitudes and their insights and their mindsets start bleeding over into you, and they start shifting your mindset and your attitudes and how you can approach life and how you're able to do all the things you set your mind to. And because of that is one of the reasons that another one of the great benefits of the mastermind groups is that the way you approach your life changes dramatically as you spend the intentional and you live life with this group of people. Those are some of the great benefits that you have by being in a mastermind group. And I've got a group that I call the Conclave of Men. It's a paid group, but I try to keep the price low enough that, because I understand some of you dads have a hard time. You're busy with just trying to get dinner on the table, and you're trying to save up so that you can go on a decent vacation. Well, this will help. This group of men helps you to achieve those particular goals. If you're wanting to start a business, we can, there's those of us in the group who are wanting to help you get that business up and going. Find that niche that you're really wanting. If you're just really struggling with how to connect with your teenage son, because there's always special issues with a son, especially if you're, like a truck driver, you're gone 75% of the time. And a lot of us are. I mean, we work out of the house. Some of you may be truck drivers or work in the oil field or even in an office, but you've got business trips you got to go to. You do the conference circuit. Well, if the conference circuit still is a viable means of getting together, but anyhow, you spend a good deal of time out doing your day-to-day battle. And so when you get home, a lot of times your son has, your son grows up from, as I used to describe it whenever as a truck driver and whenever I was gone all the time. And when I say all the time, I mean, there was times I was gone 3-4 weeks at a time. You see your children grow up from the cab of a truck. And that gets incredibly frustrating. There's a lack of connection. And all of a sudden you come in and you're trying to instill your particular thoughts and ideas and points of value. And, you're not there a whole lot. And so you come in and all of a sudden you're this guy who's not really there. There's a connection there. Obviously your son loves you, but you're not the primary, you're not as primary of a character in your son's life as you would be if you were home all the time. You see what I'm saying? Well, this mastermind group, the Conclave of Men, helps men become men. They change their mindsets of who they are and how they go about life, and we help each other to become the ideal man that we want to be. If that is, a more thoughtful man who allows their son to become the man they were destined to be. Or if you're, and also maybe the group can help you to change from being just a parent who is, yelling and screaming and stomping around to someone who is a mentor who guides their son to become the man that they need to be. So if this sounds like an interesting, idea to you, you can go over to relaxmail.com/the conclave. There's a dash between the and conclave, and you can go in, sign up. There's a little bit of an application, and we will look at go through and see how well of a fit you are. Because I don't want to have someone who's not willing to work on themselves. Yeah, and there's a thought of, well, if I'm signing up, then I want to fix myself. You would think that's normally the case. A lot of times there is, but there's other people who their personality and stuff doesn't mesh with the personality of the group. So sometimes there's other things that go in through that reveal themselves through the interview process that may show that the person's not the best. I try to make sure that the group is as solid as possible. So as of right now, I've got a few more spaces open so that we can accept some new folks in. So if you're interested, please go over to go to relaxmail.com, and at the top, if you'll see the Conclave of Man, and you can click on that and read about it and sign up. And I would encourage you to sign up. That will help you become a better man for your family, the more ideal man towards that your wife is wanting in your life, the ideal father, or a better idea of what the father for your kids is wanting to actually be. So, all right. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and let you go so you can continue with the rest of your day. Thank you very much for listening, and we will we'll keep this going next week. All right. So till then, love your family. Bye.